Time for another Nebraska Prep Zone report. We are sponsored today by MD West One, Nebraska's most advanced sports medicine, orthopedics, neurosurgery, and spine care, covering greater Omaha for over 70 years. I'm your host, Jake Anderson. And if it's April, there's only one guest, Mike Patterson. If we're going to discuss baseball, you're going to be on.
Yeah, high school baseball time, Jake. Probably just about the midpoint here, but lots of interesting developments already, and top teams are rising to the top. So, let's get after it.
I've got your current top 10 in front of me. And as you say, midpoint, we were just discussing before the show. We're not exactly for sure where these top teams will be heading and when they'll be heading there. But for right now, they're playing great baseball, headlined by Millard South, which just won the Millard West Invitational.
Right. That's the good news, Jake. The bad news is that the Patriots have been defeated twice already this week. Fremont Bergen got them on Monday, and Millard West got them last night on Tuesday. So, the Patriots, I think we'll see if they can stay number one. It's going to depend on how the rest of this week hashes out. But, they're off to a really good start. And for sure, they're still one of the top teams, but they entered this week 15-1, and now they're 15-3. So not quite that air of invincibility that they had.
That seems like a theme at the top. Your number 2 team, Bellevue West, dropped a game to Omaha Westside.
And I was there to see it, Jake. Yesterday, Westside played a nice game. They won 11-6 in 9 innings. It was one of those back and forth games. Very windy, as it always is down at Bellevue West. But the Warriors prevailed, and we'll be talking about them in just a minute. But again, I thought Millard South and Bellevue West heading into this week had sort of distanced themselves a little bit from the rest of the pack, but they've been beaten combined 3 times in just the first couple of days this week. So I think there really is a tightening up of the top teams.
Side note, we talk all the time about great high school logos, great high school jerseys. Our photographers have been to Bellevue West or a few of their games so far this spring. Those Bellevue West batting helmets look clean. Those are good.
I can't say that I've really looked at them up close. I know they've made an impact on you, Jake, but what is it about those batting helmets that does it for you?
They got the Thunderbird at the top. It's just it just does it for me. It's just great.
Okay, just a good look. It's hard to go wrong with the purple and yellow down there, and they've got a really nice field, and Jason Shockey's done a nice job with that program. But T-Birds second in the rankings heading into this week. Like I said, we'll see how the rest of this week hashes out. We'll get to that a little later on.
And as you mentioned, kind of some bunching up at the top, those 3 and 4 teams, Omaha Westside and Millard North, those are the only 2 teams to defeat Bellevue West. Could we have either one of them moving up to that 1-2 spot?
Well, again, we'll see how the rest of the week plays out, Jake. But, the Warriors' first-year coach, Otis Seals, he's done a nice job. Going down and winning at Bellevue West is not an easy thing. Westside fell behind 3-0 in the first inning, but their pitcher battled back and really hung in there. Ty Madison did a nice job. So that's it with Westside. And Millard North, of course, they've had great tradition there over the years. The Mustangs are one of those teams that I think last year they felt like they really had a good shot at a Class A title. They had a lot of players there. Unfortunately, a lot of them have moved on now. So they're a young team, but the Mustangs definitely have played some good games this season. Like you said, they beat the T-Birds early in the season. So Dave Cork's squad looking really good, and I expect to hear more from them later this week in the Metro.
And your 5, 6, and 7 teams are kind of an interesting mix. Lincoln East, Papio South, and Omaha Creighton Prep.
Right. Spartans at number 5, they were up a little higher last week. They got beat a couple of times. I believe that was in the Millard West tournament. So we needed to move Lincoln East down a little bit. Michael Lanick, former prep assistant, done a good job with their program. Papio South is probably a little bit of one of the surprise teams this year, I think, Jake. They've got good experience. I saw them play earlier in the season. They played Papio, their annual game out at Werner Park. Papio South had lost their first few games, but they came back and won that one against Papio, and that really kind of led to their turnaround. Bill Lynam's done a nice job there, and of course Pat Mooney, longtime coach at Prep. They've kind of been up and down a little bit this season. Millard South really stuck it to them. I believe it was last week. The Patriots went in and beat Prep 10-0 at Prep, so that very, very rarely happens. So I'm sure that kind of made the Junior Jays play a little bit tougher since then. But yeah, Prep sitting at number 7 this week, and again, definitely a team to watch.
And one last team I want to highlight from this top 10, number 8 Norris. That's your top Class B team. Who's challenging the Titans this season?
Well, to me, it looks like Norris and Elkhorn are the top 2 in Class B. We've got them 1-2, and Norris has played Elkhorn twice and beaten them twice. So you got to keep the Titans up there. That Norris program is just one of those that seems to reload every year. Doesn't matter what the season is. So and it's not just baseball, Jake. They just have really good programs down there at Norris. So right now, I think the Titans definitely deserve that number 1 spot, and Elkhorn number 2. But we have a few other challengers like Omaha Scott and Waverly and Ralston and Bennington and Seward and even Omaha Gross. So I'm not going to say that it's a 2-horse race in Class B. It kind of looks that way right now, but definitely we'll see what happens the second half of the season.
And before we get to what's ahead for some of those top Class A teams, let's take a minute for a message from our sponsor, MD West 1.
As the official team doctors for high school and college teams across Greater Omaha, MD West 1 Sports Med Doctors can get you back into the game, stronger than ever. Meet the Sports Med team at mdwest1.com or call 402-390-4111.
And we've got the Metro Conference Tournament this week, PAT. Number 1 seed, Millard South. What other matchups on that bracket interest you?
Well, I've got it right in front of me, Jake. So the 4 host teams for the quarterfinals are going to be Millard South, Millard North, Westside, and Bellevue West. Of course, that's based on the wild card points from when they seeded the tournament, which I believe was Monday. So looking at that Millard South bracket, Millard West is the number 8 seed, which everybody who's followed high school baseball anytime in about the last several decades knows that the Wildcats are always one of the tough teams. I think a little bit of a funk last week, but they've got it together. They beat Millard South last night 4-0. So I think the Wildcats are coming back again. So I think they kind of loom as a big challenger in that Millard South bracket. Moving on to the Millard North bracket, aforementioned Papio South is in there. Here's a team that has really kind of flown under the radar. I was expecting more from them this season, but got off to a little bit of a slow start, and that's Elkhorn South. So I know they've got a lot of talent there. So Brandon Dahl, their coach, done a nice job, but they've been a little bit up and down, but I expect them to possibly pose some problems in that Millard North regional there, if we want to call it that. West Side, moving on to that one, got Papio is in that one, so I think the Monarchs could pose a little bit of a problem. Burke is in that one too, so we'll see if the Bulldogs have a little spark there. They're playing the Warriors right off the bat. And then the last one, Bellevue West, where I was last night, Thunderbirds definitely have played well enough to deserve to host. And we mentioned Prep, they're down there, so that'll be a good one. And Central has had some nice games too. They're in that one too. So I think Thursday they're going to play the first round and the second round, and hopefully the weather will cooperate Thursday. I think Thursday and Saturday were okay. Friday might look a little dicey, but semifinals on Friday and Saturday. I think it's great that they're going to play that final at UNO's new field, Jake. So I think everybody's looking forward to that. So hopefully the weather cooperates enough that we can get the tournament in.
Yeah, gorgeous ballpark at UNO, Tally Anderson Field, and semifinals Friday at Elkhorn South. Two good venues there, Friday, Saturday. Who's your if you had to pick 4 teams right now, who do you think will be there in the semifinals? Are you going chalk those top 4 seeds?
I would probably lean to that, but Millard South worries me a little bit with Millard West being out there. Millard West just handled them, but I think you got to give a slight edge to the teams that are playing at home, which is Millard North, Millard South, Westside, and Bellevue West. Having said that, wouldn't surprise me at all if Prep, Millard West, Papio, and maybe Papio South end up playing. So I think the rest of this week will kind of show us again, Jake, exactly how close those teams are that have kind of been behind Millard South and Bellevue West the first half of the season. So we'll see how that goes.
And to tie everything full circle, Metro Conference, midway point, featuring your top 4 teams as well as a good chunk of the top 10, is the winner, if it's one of those top 4 teams, or even if it's someone outside Millard West, is the winner Saturday your early front runner, your title favorite?
Boy, that's a good question. I'd probably have to see how the tournament goes before I would say that, but I'm guessing that whichever team survives the Metro tourney, and it's a gauntlet. You got to play 2 games on Thursday, a tough game on Friday, and a tough game on Saturday. So to successfully navigate that, I wouldn't be surprised if that team ascends to the top of the ratings. And I guess you'd have to say that they might be, at least at the halfway point of the season, favorite going into the second half of the season. I guess X factor might be Lincoln East, which will be playing in the Heartland Athletic Conference tournament. So we'll see how that goes. Got a lot of conference tournaments going on this week, Jake. But I'm looking forward to how this Metro tournament plays out.
And you'll have updates all week. People can follow you on Twitter at mpattersonowh. And I look forward to your coverage on omaha.com and in the World-Herald. Thanks for joining us and getting us caught up on baseball.
All right. Nice talking to you, Jake, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Until next time, thanks for listening.